Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So everybody knows by now that the Michigan Republican Party is an utter disaster. They've been a disaster for quite some time, and this seems to be something that is really showing no signs of stopping until relatively recently, because there may be a coup within the leadership there that we're going to be talking about in today's video that is going to get out these people who are in power, who are incompetent, who aren't raising money, who act like they're controlled opposition, even though they relatively seem at times to be well-meaning. So in this video, we're going to get into it, but 2022 was an utter disaster. 2020, you almost had John James win the Senate race there. The presidential election was close. You won the presidency in 2016. But in 2022, Gretchen Whitmer, despite being an awful governor and having a lot of people on the right in the state despise her, ended up winning by more, a couple points more, than she won by in 2018, which was a D+8 national environment instead of an R+2 national environment. And you saw that there. It was an utter disaster. And down ballot, Republicans did just even worse in many places. Even these generic Republicans ended up losing these winnable swing districts there. And on top of that, you look down ballot at these other races, the woman who lost by 14 points and lost John James' district that he won by like close to 20 or something like that. It was brutal. She got rewarded with the state party chair for some reason. I don't know who exactly thought it was a good idea to put the worst performing individual in the state that year ahead of everybody else as the state party chair. And she won it over Matt DePerno, who lost the attorney general's race by about 8 points, which is about a 2-point overperformance of Dixon. It's not necessarily all his fault because those down ballot effects and things like funding definitely play a role. And he campaigned a much more competent campaign than either Dixon or Camaro did. However, still, at the end of the day, you saw the state chair go to the hands of Christina Caramo, who got completely shellacked statewide, lost counties that Mitt Romney was able to win in the state of Michigan when he lost the state by 10. It was a brutal, total disaster all around. She should not have been rewarded with anything. She couldn't even get 42% in this state. This is a state that voted for Trump in 2016. And now she's the chair of the state party. And when she's the chair, not only is she calling everybody who opposes her racist or whatever, she's going out there and raising a whopping $2,000 in the first quarter. $2,000 for the first quarter of the Michigan GOP. And I don't exactly care how good you might be on the issues or how anti-establishment you are. If these are the numbers you're posting, you're just incompetent. There's competent people who oppose the establishment, who want to change the GOP, make it an authentically conservative national populist party. There are people like that. She is not one of them. And it speaks volumes when you look at this fundraising information. So she needs to go, because what she's doing is hurting our brand of our wing of the party. And on top of that, she's just hurting the chances for anybody in the Michigan GOP and is hurting Donald Trump's chances at retaking the state in 2024, despite her claiming to be a very big supporter of Donald Trump. It's counterproductive. It's not getting us literally anywhere. And as a result, there's a coup, which is good, an attempted coup to remove Caramo from leadership. And I think it's a good thing. I really do, because she is just awful at her job. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing out there. And we're going to lose elections in the state. The Democrat trifecta that they established in 2022 is going to be permanent. And you're sitting on a state that, the demography is relatively favorable. You could win it. You could make it a red state, if you had competent leadership, maybe not like a super red state, but you potentially could make it like a lean red state that's still kind of competitive, but still is going to go in your column most election cycles. But they don't have that because they're weak, they're dumb, and they're getting worse somehow. So when we look at this, he says, we believe, and this is from Joe Moss, who is a conservative from Ottawa County. He now wants the chairmanship, and he's launching the coup, which I think is a good thing. And he says, we believe we speak for most delegates when we say we're all excited to see Joe Moss nominate Karamo for chair at the state convention this past February. We shared a vision of hope that a new era of leadership was taking the helm of the party. So he was in support of her at the beginning. He said, we're going to have an age of transparency, unity, and victory. But over the past few weeks, it's become clear that Chairwoman Karamo is not able to be an effective leader of the state party. There's been a severe violation of the trust placed in her by activists and delegates in this state. And many of us believe that the trust is irreparable at this time. 100% true. For that reason, we write to you tonight to announce our intention to draft Joe Moss as our next chairman at tomorrow's meeting of the Michigan Republican State Committee. Concurrent to that effort, we will also be collecting signatures in order to bring a vote to the floor to remove Karamo as an officer of the Michigan Republican State Committee. Per the bylaws, a petition with 50% support is needed to initiate that vote, followed by 75% support to remove. So this might take a while. This is something that's not going to happen overnight. This is something that also may fail the first time or the first couple of times. But still, you have the ball rolling to potentially get rid of this woman who's incompetent. She lost by a ridiculous margin when she was running for Secretary of State. She doesn't know how to fundraise to save her life. And like, I've had live streams that have gotten more super chat revenue than the entire apparatus of the Michigan State Party could raise in the first quarter. Like several of them. It's not even close. It's ridiculous. They don't know what they're doing. They gotta change up. You need competent leadership. You can have solid, competent leadership. This guy was in support of her because she was relatively solid. But now, because she's so incompetent, a lot of people that even supported her are turning on her because they know that she's not doing anything right. She's not fundraising properly. She's hurting not just the brand, but the ability for us to technically go out there, chase our ballots, and win, because you can't do that if you don't have any fundraising. You just can't. And they're trying to remove her for all the right reasons. It's not like this is like a full rhino coup. And Joe has been a steadfast conservative leader in Ottawa County and has shown he has the credentials to win elections at the state and local level. The energy that Joe and his team have brought into Ottawa County is needed across our state, and we believe a course correction at this stage in the game will still allow Michigan's Republican Party to build the infrastructure needed to achieve victories at every level. Please join us in supporting this effort. And it's true, 100% true, because there's still time. You can still correct course here. Maybe not perfectly. I'm not saying that, oh, well, if we change our leadership right now, that Trump's guaranteed Michigan. Not true. But does it open up the chance? Absolutely. You talk about these down ballot races. It definitely will impact a House race or two if you change the state party leadership, I would say. And maybe you have a better shot at retaking the state legislature, at least one of the chambers. Absolutely. 100%. You have that ability if you change course now or soon. It's got to be soon. Because if you do it a year from now, a few months before the election, you're not going to be able to build up the infrastructure. But if you do it a couple of months from now, where you still have time before the primaries, yeah, absolutely. You have the ability to go out there and change, correct course, and possibly help move the state more to the right if you have a more competent state party. That's what it comes down to, because they're just like flying blind at the wheel right now. And it's kind of like the Florida Democrats and to a certain extent Democrat parties and states where Republicans are actually competent, because there are Republican parties that are competent, believe it or not. We see Florida, North Carolina, even Texas to a large degree. And then you look at the Democrat parties in places like Florida, even places like Ohio, etc. There's plenty of them that don't know what they're doing, extremely incompetent. We can win if we just correct course and are competent and mold the state parties of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania to be more in line with those in North Carolina and Florida in terms of competence. Definitely the issues that the voters care about in the Rust Belt states are a little bit different compared to the Sun Belt states, but still, you could easily, change that. You could have the differences in branding. For sure, you're going to need to do that to win because every state's different. And the Democrats understand that with their competent state parties. So we need to do what we can do to build up the infrastructure necessary to win, encourage people to harvest their ballots and vote early so we don't have to chase them down at the 11th hour. That's how you get things done. That's how you win. Michigan is a state that is like closer around 50% non-college educated white. That is your voter base, but they don't turn out. I mean, 2016 is the anomaly to a large degree to that, and Republicans are going to have to chase those voters, and you can't do that with an operation as incompetent as this. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.